Hi everyone, and welcome to Monday afternoon stamping. Normally I'd come to you Monday evenings, but I was tied up tonight, so I am coming to you a little bit earlier this afternoon. So welcome to those who are able to catch me live, and welcome to those watching the replay or watching on YouTube. So glad to have you here. My name is Lillian Kemp, and from Stampers Niche. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you from Alberta, Canada. And what I love to do is share paper crafting ideas with you and hopefully unlocking some ideas for you to put into use too. So let's go down to my desk. But before I do, right now celebration is going on. And what that means in Stampin' Up! World is you can earn free product. There are some product that you can only earn. You can't buy it. But what you have to do is have an order that is $60 or $120 or multiples of that. And if you were just a few dollars short, say of $60, what might you add to your order to bump it up to the $60? Or if you were aiming at the 120, what would you add to bump it up to the 120? Some of my suggestions would be, I'll give you one, and then I'll let you do some, and then I'll give some more. One would be an adhesive. This adhesive here is just $5.50, and so often if I'm just a smidge short on an order, I'll add an adhesive. So there's one idea. What are some things you might add to an order that you are going to use anyway, and just to bump it up to so you can have something free. While you're jotting that down, I am going to, or in the comments, I'm going to take you down to my desktop. All right. So glad to see so many of you watching here today. That's wonderful. I appreciate that a big time. All right, let's see here. I see Marilyn giving some suggestions, and those are great suggestions, Marilyn. I love them. What about some more, folks? How about some more? Just while I'm getting this all set up on the computer and making sure things are going. Oh, good idea, Bonnie. Excellent ideas coming in. How about dimensionals? Who uses lots of dimensionals? Again, they are only $5.50, so there is another idea. Envelopes, yes. And when in doubt, I order basic white paper too, because I always need more basic white paper. Let's see, who else is going to leave me a comment of what you would order just while I share this to my group page. If I don't do it now, I will forget. So let me just do that. And I'm going to share one more thing that I always keep in mind when adding to my order, and that is a re-inker. Just like this and your dimensionals, it's only $5.50, but these will extend the life of your ink pad for, well, basically years. They're super to have. When I order an ink pad anymore, I always order the re-inker. You'll notice I put the color on top because when I store mine, let me just grab a few, I store them so that I only see the tops, so that helps me to see the color readily, and that way, like that. And some of you I can hear some of you saying, well, how do you re-ink your ink pads? Well, what I do is I just take this off. I always double check the name, because we have all, I think, re-inked with the wrong color, and that is really makes you feel sick at heart. It's correctable. First of all, I would blot it off. If it's still there, I actually would rinse it out, let it dry, and then re-ink it with the right color. But what I do, and everybody has their own method, is I just go zigzag this way. Look at how it's soaking in. So it was thirsty. And then I go zigzag that way. And then I stop because I don't want to get it too inky, but you can see that it's got those little lines. So the ink is just sitting there. It hasn't spread around yet. So I take something that I'm not going to cut this with. So your bone folder would work. This is just a takeout spoon, but because it's curved, I can use this part and not worry about cutting it. And all I do is I just push down just as if I was icing a cake. Just go back and forth. And what I'm doing is spreading that ink around. And then I just rinse that off. I'll do that afterwards. And then I can use it. And sometimes if you're not getting a good image, that's the reason. It's your ink pad needs re-inking. If I'm finished using it, and I'm not going to use it for a little bit, when I close it, I'm actually going to turn it upside down for a few minutes so it soaks in. Because our ink pads are already like this, so the ink is going to stay on the surface, I want that new ink to soak in. So I turn it upside down for a few minutes. So that's a little side trip, but that's something else. Make sure you have your re-inkers, and if you have any of the new or any of the in colors, make sure to get them. All right, a couple of things. If you're needing inspiration, I have a couple of classes to go. The Dainty Delight class to go, which uses the Dainty Delight bundle and the Dainty Delight, I forget the name right now, the designer paper, and you can find more information there. I'll put the link in the comments later. And whoops! And then I also have one of my famous Use Your Stash classes, and this is Use Your Stash of designer paper with fun folds, and that's where you can find that information. So I will put those links up, but just pointing that out. Linen thread, yes, linen thread often gets added too. I go through a lot of linen thread. So let's see there. Let's move that up a little bit. Today I want to talk to you and share about this stamp set right here. Thanks a bunch. So here it is right here. It's found in Celebration, and if you noticed, I think it was yesterday's Facebook post, I had you looking at this from different angles. And then sometimes we see different things if we rotate our stamps around. So not only are there wonderful words, there are wonderful images, and they can do a multitude of things. So we're going to experiment with that a little bit today. So where do you find that? Well, that is one of the sets that you get for free. You cannot buy it. It's on page 5 of Celebration. You will see it right there, and just like that. So if you needed to top up an order, some of your suggestions would be perfect for that. Now, when I was looking at this, I thought, well, what other stamp sets could I use that with? And one that I thought of was this one right here in the mini catalog called the Easter Bunny Bundle. So can't you just see those carrots fitting in with all these spring and Eastery kinds of things? So when you look at your stamp sets, do look and see what else they can go with. So that was just my thought right there. So let's explore this stamp set a little bit more. First off, I went and I Googled what color are carrots, and carrots come in almost every color you can imagine. Plus, we're artists, right? So we can make them be another color altogether. So I've seen some blue ones. I've seen all different kinds, and it is just so much fun. So how many of you have eaten some of these other different colored carrots, and do they taste any different, or is it just all in the color? So let's bring in, because these are photopolymer stamps, I'm bringing in something cushiony to stamp on. And I'm going to bring in some scrap paper, and we're just going to explore some of the things that we might do with the stamps. So for example, if I have this big carrot or this little carrot, it's a carrot, right? But could it be anything else? Let's see if we stamped it in a totally different color. I'm bringing in Shaded Spruce right here. And think I've got it inked up. And I stamp it like this. And I turn my paper. Ooh, it could be a tree, right? But a tree needs a stump. What if I brought in this little leafy stamp here and brought in some brown ink? This is soft suede. Whoops. And I'm just going to ink up the stem, not the whole thing, and stamp that there. And look at that. I've got a tree. So I could stamp this one again. And it's a little lighter, so it's a second impression. And I could do this, and I could do a whole forest. And I could do the same with this one so that I would have smaller trees and larger trees and all kinds of fun things like that. Let's move these out of the way. So it doesn't just have to be a carrot. Then we have this stamp set here, and this is designed to go on here and give it some dimension and depth. But what else could you use this for? To me, this looks like rolling hills with grass. That's what my brain's going for. So let's bring in a green. And what could we do here? Let's see. Oh, look at that. There we go. We have got some grass. And there is another stamp in there. This one here, it matches up with the leaf image so that you could add some dimension to that leaf image, but it also could be grass, right? And I'm going to just stamp that off a bit, and well, even it could be some flower stamps, right? But how are we going to do the flowers? Well, let me bring the stamp set back in. There is a stamp here that looks like this. So what if we inked it up, say, oh, you can see I've got a whole stack of inks here. Here's some Daffodil Delight. What if we inked it up in Daffodil Delight? Make sure I'm in the picture here. And maybe some Mango Melody, because I have that on my desk anyway. And you can see that I am starting to make a scene here, and it has absolutely nothing to do with carrots. So that's putting those stamps into another use. And here is a finished card did that kind of thing. So I just brought in some of the colors in the background. I sponged a bit here. I took the Look at You stamp from the set, and I stamped it full strength, and then the next, and then the third. So it's 1, 2, 3, and I did not re-ink in between. So there you can see we've got a totally non-carrot looking sample right there. So let's take a look. What else could we do? We have some other stamps here. We have this stamp right here, this little bunch of carrots. Well, it makes great carrots. Remember, I used that last week in this one right here. So, but what else could we do other than carrots? So let's bring in, oh, I'll just use Mango Melody again because it's sitting here on my desk. What if we went like that, rotated it a bit, and went around in a circle. Whoops, it could have been a hula skirt, couldn't it? Didn't think of that till right now. The more you start thinking about what else can I do with this stamp, the more your brain starts to see different things. And just like that, I've created maybe a daisy. So if I brought in a center, I could have a flower there. So there it is in Calypso Coral. Let's close this up. So I have a little sample. I made it into a sun. So here it is here. So there's the sun peeking out. The words, Look at You, I stamped and then cut apart. And then here's the grass. And these little lines here, they are from here as well. I'm going to show you something with that as well. But just before I do, I have one more thing that I want to show you with this one. So let's see if I got some space here. There we go. So I took that and take some red ink, any red will do, and I stamped it once at a little bit of an angle like that. Then I stamped it again and I lined it up with this like that. And what do I have? I have a heart. So there is a little note card or a little gift card to keep with the gift right there. So is your brain starting to go 1,000 different directions? I kind of think it might be. Then I looked at the celebration brochure again, and I looked at this. And did you see this paper in the background? They used the stamps. They used this stamp to make one. They used this stamp to make one. And they used this stamp to create one of the backgrounds. And so I thought, well, I'd try that out too. So here you can see one like that, like that, like that. So if we brought in a card base, we could already have our own designer paper that we created ourselves and go on there. And that is the type of thing that they did on this card here. So you could put your owl on here, you could put more carrots on there, you could do whatever. So I just wanted to share that to get your thinking caps on and some of those ideas going. And now we're going to clear all this away and make today's card. So let me just give myself some space, hopefully not send everything flying onto the floor. And I had better clean some of those stamps. So I'm going to give them a clean. This is my Stamp and Scrub. Your chamois would work too. I'm just going to make sure it's coming off clean. I think this needs to be rinsed out, but it's working fine right now. It'll work for today. Got all of those inky. Usually I clean after Facebook Live, but today I need some of these stamps. So, and I need them in another color. There we go. I think I've got them all. Can't remember if I cleaned that one. There we go. All right. So the card that we're going to make today is I made it like this. We're going to change up the color of one of the carrots here, but we're bringing in this designer paper called Dandy Designs, and it is found in Celebration. So you can only earn it for free. Just have to find it. It's found in Celebration on page 14. So this you would get free with a $120 order because this is a mega pack of paper. There are 48 sheets in it. You could create for a long time with this pack of paper, and it has wonderful, wonderful colors. Look at the colors that are found in it. Plus they go with other colors. You know, when in doubt, always throw black or gray in or some of your neutrals, but a wonderful pack of paper. So we're going to use this one right here and this one right here. So that's what we're using today. So let's bring in our package of card making packet here. There we go. And we're starting with a card base that is half a sheet. So it's 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. Oh, you like how those papers were displayed, Karen? It was because there were so many. I had to figure out a creative way to show them. So we have a card base like this. Then we're going to put, if you look at the sample, this piece on. And that piece, I made it 2 by 5.5. You can make it whatever you want. 5.5 means it's going to go top to bottom, just like that. And then this one here, I made it 2 by 5. So it's going to layer on like that. So before we look at the rest, why don't we just do that right now and take care of that? So this is 2 by 5.5. I've got so many ink pads up here. I moved my glue and I keep reaching for it in a different spot. There we go. So 2 by 5.5, and it's going, I'm just leaving a bit of a border right where the fold is, just like that. And then we're going to bring in the 2 by 5 piece. Add some adhesive to the back of that. And I'm just going to overlap it and then try to keep it fairly even top and bottom. I think I want it back in there a bit. Better stop or I'm going to have glue everywhere. There we go. So now we've got it like that. We're all ready for this part of the card. So we'll put this to the side over there. Now what we have, because I am using a deckled rectangle that is cut from a piece that is 2 3/4 by 4 1/8. So that it is basically, when it's cut, it's 2 and about 5/8 and about 4. So I've got this, and then I've got a piece of Mango Melody that's 2 3/4 by 4 1/8. It's going to go underneath and leave just a little bit of a border. Now, if you don't like that, you can always make it bigger. It's not written in stone. You can do it however you want. But we're not going to glue that together just yet because we need to do some stamping. So let's bring this in, and we're going to bring in these two because I absolutely love how they work together, and I think you will too. So we'll bring in the Mango Melody. I'm going to bring in some scrap paper so I just don't make everything too messy here, because I want to stamp it off firsthand. So let's ink this up. Stamp it once before I stamp it on here. And I'm going to stamp it, I think like that. I meant to do it a little lower down. Oh well, it'll work just fine. Then I want to do another one. Now what I did was I used our masking paper, so I always keep all our scraps, but the masking paper, it's sticky, it's removable. You can use a Post-it note if you want, but I love the masking paper just because, sorry, I am looking for my stamp set. There we go. Just because it's sticky all over. And then once I make one, so I stamped the carrot on it, I cut it out so that I didn't leave any border. So what this is going to do is mask or cover up this carrot here, and I'm going to do it so that I can see just a smidge coming out at the top and the side, like that. And then I'm going to repeat and stamp again. Let's get the right stamp. Stamp it off. And I'm going to overlap the tops. And I think I'll have it come down a little bit. Stagger it a bit. Just like that. I caught an edge. Let's try this again. I brought this in just so in case a boo-boo happened, and I could have always covered that over with something else, but I was already unhappy with my placement, so it's all good. So now we'll bring our mask back in and mask it off, ink this up, stamp it on the scrap paper, Bring this one down a little bit, like that. And then when I take my mask off, it looks like it's behind, right? I forgot to do something while I was here, so we will just do it now. Now I'm going to ink up this one that we used for the grass. And what it does is it lines up right with the edge of the carrot. And you get that look. Isn't that neat? Doesn't it add so much interest and definition? I am using the same color ink, but this time full strength instead of stamping it off. So we get that look like that. So now we're going to close up the Mango Melody. And we're going to bring in our mask again. And you can see I've used this many times and it works over and over and over again. Now we're going to bring in Granny Apple Green because that's the color of the green in the paper we were using. And I want to put a sprig of this up here, but I don't want the stem going down the middle of the carrot. So there, I'm going to stamp once, lift, give it a little twist, and get just a little bit more. Then when I peel this off, just like magic, it's like that. I love it. Okay, I think we could do one more here. I was thinking of trying to decide if we needed to or not. But I think it wouldn't hurt. So let's do one more like that and maybe like that. There, so now I'll put this back in my stamp case and use it the next time. So now we have got that, and what I did ahead of time was I stamped a few leaves of these, so we're going to use them. I think we'll use 3. Sure, we'll do that. And then I brought in some scrap paper, and I'm going to clean up that carrot stamp one more time. Make sure it's coming clean. There we go. And I'm going to bring in some fresh freesia. So this is another color that was in that stack of paper, and we're just going to add that to the card just for some interest. So we're going to do, whoops, forgot to stamp it off. That's all right. There's another side to the paper. There we go. And then we will bring in this piece that adds the detail, just like that. And then we're going to cut it out. And through the magic of Lillian actually being prepared ahead of time, here it is already cut out. So there we go. Just like that, we're going to now attach the leaves to here. So I'm going to turn it over, add some adhesive on the back, and then start to attach some leaves. Let's see, we'll put one here. Now you'll notice when I cut these leaves out, I left a white border. It's much more forgiving if you do that. It just seems to blend in if you leave a bit of a white border when you're doing that. When I did my mask, I cut right on the line, maybe even a little inside the line. But when you're cutting out to use on a project, usually it's best to leave a bit of a white border. You're going to find out, experiment, see what you like, but that's what I found worked best for me. There we go. So we've got that. It's going to fasten on top of here, sort of like that. Before I do that, I am actually going to assemble my card so that I know where I'm going to put that carrot. So let's stick these two together. Now I could have added splatters and that kind of thing. I just didn't this time around, but I am going to add some dimensionals. And we'll stick a couple in the middle. We don't want them to a saggy card, right? Well, I went to drop the dimensionals and they stuck to my fingers. Came back with all of them. There we go. So now we're going to bring in our card front. Pardon me. And we're going to put it about here like that. Now when I go to place this, I can decide where I want to put it. So I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of this. Put a couple here just to help hold those in place. And I'm going to bring in some minis for down there. You could always, if you don't have mini dimensionals, you could always cut your dimensionals in half. That's not an issue at all. So now we'll take those backings off. And decide where do we want them on the card. I think about like that would be good. There. So now we need some words. Now you can do two things. You can use your Stampin' Cut and Emboss. Not Stampin' Cut and Emboss, pardon me, your embossing powder, and do it in white. So like that. Or if you don't have embossing powder, you can always use black or dark green or something like that. But since I have embossing powder, I am going to show you how to do that. My piece of Granny Apple Green is 3/4 by 2.5. And to make the ends a little bit more interesting, I brought in the Happy Labels Pick-a-Punch. So here it is here. So this you can use different widths of paper in it and get some different interesting ends. So let's see. That one's, there we go. And then I like to look at the bottom just to make sure. Now this is one time I like to punch before I stamp because it will affect where the center will be for when I'm stamping. So it just cuts off a little bit, as you can see, but it adds interest and I quite like that. So now we're going to bring in our Versamark and our embossing buddy. And we're going to use our embossing buddy. This one has been well loved. And that's just so that the paper won't collect anything that we don't want it to collect. And there's no one quite like you. I love that. There's no one quite like you. I forgot to put a pad underneath, but I think it's going to be okay. There, so you can see it's like a watermark right now. Then we're going to add the powder. That where we stamped is now going to be sticky, and it's going to, the powder is going to stick to it like that, but it's still a powder. Now when we heat it with the heat tool, it's going to melt, and just like magic. Whoops, I forgot to brush some of this off. I can see it now. I didn't see it before. Just like magic, it's going to melt and become embossed or raised and shiny. You can see it's starting to change. I forgot to use my tweezers and my fingers are getting a smidge warm. There we go. Now, if you're wondering where can I get the measurements and everything for this card, it will be in Thursday's newsletter. So when I do my Facebook Lives, I pretty much always give the free tutorial in the Thursday newsletter. So make sure that you're subscribed to my newsletter, and I will put the link again with it. Then you will get the instructions. So there you can see it's all embossed. So now, let's see, where do we want it? We could put it right about there, or we could put it right about there. Yeah, we'll go this way. So I want it flat here because, and this one here I overlapped a little bit more because this was over, but this one isn't. But I'm going to just remove that so that I can put it a little bit higher. So let's put some adhesive on here. I'm not going to put it on the end because it's going to overhang. Just like that. There we go. Now we just have to add a few embellishments. So what I did was I added a bit of twine, and you might say, where did that twine come from? It comes from the 3 twine combo pack. It's found in the mini catalog, and it has these 3 colors, and they're just such fresh and bright colors. This twine is a little thicker than linen thread, but it just has a really nice look to it. So let's tie a bow. Just pretend you're tying your shoes and you will be fine. Don't psych yourself out. Hang on to that center part and adjust the bow so that the loops are the way you want them. There we go. And I'm actually going to leave the tails a little bit longer just because I kind of like that look. And we'll bring in a mini glue dot to hold that on. I'm just going to kind of roll it so it's a little bit more on the long side, like that. And then we just need some sparkly stuff or whatever. One of the things I just got and I am absolutely loving is the, what's the name of it here? Enamel Dot Essentials. So it has Night of Navy, Crumb Cake, and white. And the Night of Navy is almost black. And to me, this just works with this. So on here, I use the champagne rhinestones. So you can see that you can use whatever you want. I am going to put a white one right about there. I was with my downline the other day and we were laughing about how this is always the hardest part, is trying to figure out where to put the embellishments. Might be a bit large. Let's go with a smaller one and maybe a mid-size one like that. So now we have used those and we have got that card all finished. Now, can you see that this card would also look great? This layout, so designer paper, a couple of layers. You could put anything you wanted here. You could put the adorable owls here. You could add the conversation bubbles. You could add whatever you wanted here and it would look really good. And then on the inside, you could add, little carrots before you add your sentiment, and it's all good to go. So just to remind you that of a few things that I have shared in the past. I've shared this before, but again, I absolutely love the words in this stamp set. So there's that one there. Here it is here. I've just taken some designer paper and made it hodgepodgey and gone like that. This one here I received in a swap from Karina Chin, and I love the different colors here. And she's used the same set of designer paper, but used a different color palette from. Actually, just looking at this, all of these cards are using the same designer paper. Even what's behind the numbers here is from that same package of designer paper. I didn't realize that till I was talking here. And then there's this card here, and this card opens a little bit like a book fold, but then look at, and then there's a spot for a gift certificate or something like that. Again, the same designer paper. And then last but not least, no designer paper on this one, but just stamping a row of carrots. and having one a little bit different. And there you go. And I use the same enamel dots on this one here. So hope that gives you some ideas about how to use that stamp set, or how to look at the stamp sets you have in your stash and maybe start turning them and playing them around, and looking at them from other angles and seeing if they give you an idea or not. Remember, if you are wanting to place an order and you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you can always contact me or visit my website. If your order is less than $200, please use the hostess code. If you don't, it's not the end of the world, so don't panic. But that is really helpful for me. So if you have questions, feel free to contact me. If you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. My subscribers have grown a lot, and I would love to keep it going. And thank you so much for joining me, and thanks for leaving a comment or giving a thumbs up or a heart, because that also helps me on Facebook. So thank you so much, everyone, and have fun with your stamps. Bye-bye.